Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to dclessons.com. Today we are going to present module 6, Nexus 7K hardware labs. So here in this lab, we will see about what is the NXOS version, what are all those modules, how we can see the environment, how we can see the licenses and other stuff. So in the task 1, we will see that how we can determine the software version that is currently running on Cisco Nexus box. So in that, you have to run a command show version. Once you run a command show version, right, you will see that the software section will come here, right? Here you will see that its version is 2.12.0, kickstart image is 6.2, and the system image is 6.2. So the kickstart image and system images are same. The kickstart image is the image which provides the Linux kernel, which provides the system software, which provides the system file, which provides the drivers and etc. Whereas system software NXOS is this one, through which you can get a capability to configure all the L2, L3 and other routing and switching protocols, right? So the kickstart image, you will see this is your kickstart image, boot flash N7000 S2 kickstart 6.2.16, right? This is your system image, right? We will see these commands on a lab, right? But let me go one by one through all the commands and all the tasks, right? Thereafter, we will see that how to get the inventory. So you can run a command show inventory. Once you run the command show inventory, you will see that what is your chassis. The chassis model number is 7010 and its a serial number is this one, right? On a slot 1, you have a M1 line card of a 40 gig port and 1 gig of its speed, right? On a slot 2, the again M1 line card, slot 3 M1 line card. On a slot 5, you will see that there is a supervisor soup 2E. On a slot 6, you have a supervisor soup 2E. On a slot 9, you will have a M1 series line card, 32 ports line card having a 10 gig of speed. So 10 Gbps Ethernet XL module is there, right? On again slot 10, the same line card. On slot 11, there is a fabric module which we say as a backplane, and this is a fabric module generation 1. So here you see fab-1. If it would be written fab-2, then you could have thought of it's a fabric module generation 2. Now if we go again, the fabric module generation 1 on slot 13, right? On slot 33, you will see that there is a Nexus 700 C7010 10 slot chassis power supply is there, which is having a 6 kilowatt of power, right? Again on slot 34, there is a power supply. On slot 35, there is a power supply. On slot 36, there is a fan tray, right? And this S denotes for system fan tray. So remember, on a 7010, there is a two type of fan tray. One is a system fan tray and another one is a fabric fan tray. So this is your system fan tray and here comes your fabric fan tray. So these are the two fabric fan tray. So these all describes what are all those components which are installed in your Nexus 7K, right? And you can see via show inventory command, right? Now you will ask that did my chassis is 7010, but it's showing a slot till 39. Why it's happening? So 7010, this 10 is for front, right? That is controlled by a user. That means the line cards, the supervisor engine that you can control. Whereas all other slots from slot 11, 13 to 33, 34, 35, 36 to 39, they are mainly to provide the power, to provide the backplane, right, to provide the fan cooling functionality to the Nexus box. So apart from slot 10, all other slots will be for your environment purposes, not for your data purposes, right? Why? Because your line cards and your supervisor engine are basically used for your control plane and data plane, correct? But the power supply, fan tray, fabric module is not providing any control plane or a data plane functionality. The fabric module only sends the traffic from one module to another module, and the number of the fabric module determines how your Nexus 7K system bandwidth and how it is performing, correct? So that is why this emoticons, is in question mark, right? So thinking of why it's showing the 39 slots. Now all the above modules or I mean the line cards, the supervisor engine and the fabric module, these all you can say or you can see via another command we see is as show module. So once you run the show module, you will see that on a module slot 1, on slot 2, on slot 3, on slot 5, slot 6, slot 9, slot 10. So see, on slot 9 and 10 there is a 10 gigabit line cards. On slot 1 2 3 there is a 1 gig line card, right? And on slot 5 and slot 6 there is a supervisor module, whereas on slot 6 the supervisor is active, and on a slot 5 the supervisor is in active standby. So here you say as a active, and HA standby stands for your standby, right? Now what is the software version of those line card supervisor, right? So it's matching to your NXOS version. See, okay, and this is your the serial number and the MAC address of your line card supervisor engine and fabric module. Now if you want to see what is the redundancy status of my supervisor, I mean you have installed two supervisors, soup 1 and soup 2, right, on a slot 5 and slot 6, and if you want to see that which supervisor is active and which supervisor is standby, you can very well go and see the show redundancy status. Under it you can see that my supervisor 6, right, on a slot 6, which is having on an active state, right, its internal state is active with HA standby, that it can go to the HA standby mode, right? Whereas on a soup on a slot 5 it is on a HA standby mode, right? And here it will show that system's start time is this one, system uptime is 631 days 11 hours 16 minutes and 8 seconds, right? And your active supervisor update is 631 days 11 hours 16 minutes and 8 seconds. Okay, now if you want to go to see the environment information, here you can write a command show environment. Under show environment you will see that there is a 3 power supply on which 2 are power on and 1 is powered on, right? And all these 3 power supplies are having 6 kilowatt of power, right? So total capacity is 6000 watt, right? But actually it's providing 1269, and second one is providing 1200, and third one is shut down, so it's not providing. Now out of these two power supply, your Nexus box will get a power. I mean all the line cards, all the supervisor engine, all the fabric module, all the fan tray, system fan tray will draw a power from this power supply. But there is a catch, that out of these two power supply there will be a allocated power, right? And from the allocation, what is the actual power that your line card, supervisor engine, fabric module, fan tray is drawing? So here you will see that on a slot 1, this is my line card, power supply has been allocated to approximately 400 watts, but it's actually drawing the 299 watt, right? So same you will see for every line cards, 4400 watts, 400 watts, it's what is the actual draw. For supervisor engine you will see that it's allocated is 265, but it's actually drawing the 134, right? For your 10 gig line cards its allocation is 750, but its actually drawing is 510, right? Your fabric module, right? Its allocated power is 80 watt, but due to some error it's not showing, right? And this is your system fan tray, right? So the allocation of power is done by your Nexus, right? Out of that allocation, how much your line card is actually drawing, you can see via this command. Now you can also see the power usage summary, right? What is your configuration mode of power? So here we see that the power configuration mode is redundant, right? So the total power capacity based on configured mode is 12,000 watt. Why? Because I have a two power 6,000 watt. So total it will comes to 12,000, right? Total power of all input, again 12,000 watts. Total power output actual draw means this one, right? So if you sum all these, it will come to 2469. And after 2469 uses, what will be your and this one is your total power allocated, so you can sum these allocation one and you can get this one, right? And what is the total power left? So from here you will see the left power. I mean, these are these 6,690 watt is in buffer, right? I mean, it is left power, it is not being used. As soon as your traffic starts increasing, and as soon as your line card, supervisor engine, fabric module starts requiring more and more power supply, then this amount will get reduced. So this is how you show environment command runs. Now if you want to see the module resources, I mean system module resources utilization command, here you can see source system resources is used to see what's your system resources are being utilized. So its load average is 1 minute, right? For 1 minute is 1.21, for 5 minutes it's 0.82, and for 15 minutes it's 0.79. Processes it's running, total it's having is 726, out of which 3 is running. CPU status is 7.05, it's being used by a user. 2.90% is used by a kernel, and 90% is approximately idle. So memory usage is, out of these memory, this one is used and this one is free. Currently memory status is okay. Now if you want to go to the licensing part, if you want to see what's the license you have installed, so you have to write show license brief command. You will see that there are two types of licenses available. I mean, you have installed it. One clearly shows about MDS, I mean for storage. So by this command you can see what's the licenses you have installed, right? For more dig out, you can write show license usage. Once you do that, you will see all type of licenses that are supported by your Nexus 7K, right? Out of which, what is your status, whether you have installed it or not, what is its expiry date, right? So currently I am using LAN enterprise service package, right? Here you will see that it's in use, and other I have not installed it and I am not using it. So as soon as you will install the FCOE license or VDC license, MPLS license, or enhanced layer 2 license for fabric path, or transport service license for OTV, or LAN advanced licenses for your L3, right? So in the status you will see in use. Okay, now what are, if you want to see what are the files that are there in my boot flash, so you have to write dir boot flash command. Once you do that, you will see that okay, this is your boot flash and these all are your files that are there, right? So this is your licenses there. Uses for boot flash: soup local. I mean, currently we are in our active supervisor is soup on a slot 6. So for slot 6 it's showing, I mean for then it's come for soup local, that this much byte has been used, this much bytes is in free, and total is this much bytes. If you want to see the processes, right, what are all the active processes utilizing by your CPU, then you should write so processes CPU pipe x 0.0, right? So here you will see that CPU utilization for 5 seconds is 4%, right? For 1 minute is 4%, and for 5 minutes is 5%, right? So these are the processes ID, these are the runtime, right? These are the 5 second, 1 minute, and 5 minute its utilization, and this is your process name, right? So with this, these all commands are mostly used in Nexus 7K for the operation and monitoring purposes. You can determine what all modules are there. You can determine how much power we are utilizing, how much power we are in uh, it's consuming, what's all power are kept in standby so that we can use it in later state, what are your CPU processes, what is your dir boot flash, all those stuff command. Okay, so let me go back to the lab, right? And then we can see one by one all these commands. So first start with the show version command. So show version. So see here, if I write show version command, I'll see that my kickstart image is 7.3, 7.3, right? My kickstart image is this one, and my system image is this one, right? The commands which you are seeing in the Nexus box may differ from the output which I have taken in this slide, right? So if I go back, right, it's a Nexus NXOS-V supervisor module, right? Its boot flash is having this much of memory. Now if you go show inventory, so see here, if you go to show inventory, you have a Nexus 7018 chassis, so it's 18 slot chassis. There is a supervisor module, right? There is a N7K F2 line card, 48 port, 10 gig speed line card, which is there on slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, right? On slot 33 there is a power supply, and on slot 35 there is a fan module. So if you go and run show module, so here you can see that the supervisor module is there and your line cards are there, and these are the NXOS version which is running on your supervisor module. These are the MAC addresses and these are the serial numbers, right? So show version I have completed, show module I have completed. Now show redundancy status. Let me see. So if I run show redundancy status command, right, here you will see that soup 1 is active, right? Active with no standby, right? So there is no standby supervisor, right? So only this Nexus box is having a one supervisor, so it's showing that active state and with no standby. And this is your system uptime, kernel uptime, and active supervisor uptime, right? So if you go for show environment, so let's clear it. So env. So see here, if you go for the show env, I have one power supply, right, of I think 3 kilowatt, right? Here you can see that power allocated, right? And here you see that power requested. So these are the allocation, what's your allocation and what you are drawing actually, right? And if you go for power usage summary, here you see that what is the total power supply, power reserve for supervisor, power reserve for fan module, power currently used by module, right? And then total power available is this much. So you can sum these three and minus with 3274, you can get what's the total left power you have. Okay, then you go for source system resources. So here you can see that what are all processes. 369 total processes are there, out of which 3 is running, right? It's 0.0% is used by user, 0.0% is used by kernel, and 100% is idle. Why? Because this is a lab environment and I am not using any data traffic over it, right? And then if you want to go for so license usage, so here you see that all license, I am not using any one of those licenses, right? So if you want to uh, use the license, need to enable license grace period, and then just feature interface VLAN, right? Feature PIM, and then run again this command. So see here we'll see that your LAN enterprise license is in use and your grace period will be over by 119 days, after 119 days. Okay, now if you want to see dir boot flash, so see here you can see this is the dir boot flash, this is your kickstart image, this is your system image, this is your config file, right? This one is patch directory, this one is a script directory, right? So these are all you can see with the dir boot flash command. Okay, so let's go to the slide and see what is left.